this is Evangelia Papadopoulos with Keller Williams Real Estate. Welcome to another episode of Getting to Know Your Community, Lehigh Valley. Today we have the honor and the privilege of interviewing Mr. Billy Kounoupis. He is actually the owner of Billy's Downtown Diner, 2 locations plus the newer location that you have, the Flying Pig. He's also a writer, he's an entrepreneur, a man of many talents, and a pillar of the community. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you. It's a great honor to be with. It's been a fun ride. You know, as you mentioned, we own Billy's Downtown Diner in Bethlehem as well as Easton. And we're really excited about our newest concept that I've partnered up with some family members. And we did the Flying Pig in Bethlehem, Tavern and Tap, which is really unique. And we're consistently working and growing. And with God's blessings, we'll have 2 new locations by the first quarter of the new year. Billy's locations.
Wonderful, wonderful. Tell us a little bit more about yourself, your family, if you wanted to add something.
Well, there's not really much to say. I'm a native of the Lehigh Valley. I got involved in the restaurant industry because of my love for people and food. But more importantly, my father was my idol and my hero. I wanted to follow in his footsteps. And I always felt as long as I stayed in the restaurant industry, I would have some connection with him. And so those are my motivating forces of how I got into the hospitality field. And that's pretty much it, but that's one of my main reasons.
Okay.
The other reason for it is I believe that entrepreneurship is probably one of the purest forms of business and as well as capitalism, because it doesn't care about gender, it doesn't care about race, it doesn't care about anything. It's you as an individual making things happen, and really it alleviates all excuses. So that is one of my other main motivating reasons for doing my own business.
That's wonderful. And like we said before, is there anything you cannot do, Mr. Kounoupis? We have copies of the books right here. The one is Billy Cooks Like a Mother.
Well, that's an interesting book, and that was a fun book. As we started to grow and open up other locations, I started to be asked to speak in some colleges and universities as to how to start, and how I started my business. And I was like, well, there's far better people than me to give advice on how to do it, but I was asked to start doing it because of how I simplified the process of going and starting your own business. And so a lot of people found it to be highly motivational, and that's how this book came about. And the other book, well...
The It Factor.
Yeah, The It Factor. That was an interesting book because that shares the hardships of starting your own business. So a lot of people, buying a business has always been the easiest thing to do. But when you get into the business, what is your mindset like? When you're struggling to create a brand, people aren't showing up, you have mortgaged your house, and all the challenges that come aboard. What happens when you need to cut expenses? Or your concept isn't working? What is your mindset like? Because at the end of the day, you don't only need physical endurance to build a business, but mentally you have to be sharp because people are chipping away at you. You are the person that's leading the organization. And how do you prepare yourself for that? So in that book, what I talked about is the trials and tribulations of what I went through. It's very honest in the form of what my failures were like, and then how I was able to change my mindset and what caused me to change my mindset to put myself in a better place mentally, socially, intellectually, financially, and so on and so forth.
Would you say then, I'm always of the opinion that without hard work and without hardship, you cannot develop a good character and develop your strengths that you already have. Would you agree with that statement?
Yes, to some extent, I would. I've always believed in one thing. I always believe that let God write your story. So I think that faith has to play a very important role in what you're doing. Hard work alone isn't enough. I mean, there's people out there that are working way harder than I am. I mean, if you take a look at contractors, the people that built the skylines in New Jersey, the garbage people that are doing these hard tasks on a daily basis, they are outworking me. You know, I mean, I work hard, but there's people out there that are working way harder. So the next part of it is you need to have some intellect, but more importantly, the biggest strength a person can have in building a business is the quality of people they are surrounding themselves with.
True.
Obviously, my work involves a lot of accounting. I'm not an accountant, but I look to hire the very best.
Right.
Doing contracts and doing business deals are very, very complex. One wrong signature, you can lose everything. So I realize I'm not an attorney, and so I need to work with the best attorneys that I can find. You know, so really the success of, if I have any success, I am not successful, but my businesses are. People know my businesses, and really that's because of the quality of talent that I surround myself with. I think the biggest strength anyone can have is realizing that they don't know everything and they need to be able to seek good advice.
Billy's Downtown Diner in Bethlehem is a landmark, and it has been here since what year did you open your business, Billy?
2000. I started this with my wife, Yana, my bride of a billion years. It feels that way. We've been married for over 24 years. And actually, the Billy's name was my wife's idea.
Okay.
And the way that name came about was a very, very interesting story. Both my wife and I, when we started out, very humble beginnings, my wife would waitress and cook, and I would cook and waitress. Whatever we needed to do as a family to build a business and survive. And so we were starting to be very creative with our dishes. In 2000, what we were doing with, and the way that we were playing with our food was very unique in our presentations and how we did things. And so the name of our place was Rudy's Newsstand. And Yana just came up with it. She said, I really don't want anybody to get credit for what we are doing. She says, you know, you and I are creating these dishes. Billy comes before Y, so, you know, for Google searches and stuff, let's use Billy's. And that's how it all came about. But really it came because my wife didn't want anyone to take credit for what we were doing with our recipes and the food, because during that time, nobody was burning their own CDs and making their own music for the restaurants. Nobody was using plasma TVs. They were very expensive over 20 some years ago, and we were doing that. But I think our groundbreaking moment was 7 years before there was a proposed smoke ban in the Lehigh Valley, we went smoke-free.
Okay.
So we were the first restaurant to go smoke-free before the smoke ban.
Okay.
And so because we were doing so many different things like that, Yana's like, nobody's going to take credit for what we do. It's going to be your name. My father would say to me from a very young age, he says, if you want to be successful, he says, the one thing you're going to have to realize, the biggest decision you're ever going to make in your life is who you're going to choose to marry. So I agree with that statement, but I feel that my wife is equally successful, if not more successful. And really in our household, in our marriage, we look upon each other as equals in so many ways. Now, when it comes to raising the kids, she has her way of doing things, and I have my ways. She's a little bit more tender. I'm a little bit more in your face, you know. Okay. But overall,
you are well matched, and you're both blessed with having each other. What changes have you seen in the downtown area in Bethlehem since 2000, when you first opened the restaurant?
Well, I think Bethlehem, as well as the entire Lehigh Valley, has been seeing a renaissance. From when Yana and I started, we have been growing, our downtowns have been growing, our demographics have been changing. And that is really, really a beautiful thing. I've always felt that the Lehigh Valley was a hidden gem, but I don't think there's a better area to live in and raise children in. We have great schools.
We do.
Our homes and our landscape are beautiful. We're centrally located from Jersey, Philadelphia, and New York.
Yes.
And so the Lehigh Valley has been experiencing a renaissance. And one of the things that I have noticed, one of the things that I loved about the Lehigh Valley was I loved its traditional values and the blue collar work ethic, which I always thought was so amazing. If you take a look at what the Bethlehem Steel and Mack Trucks and zinc companies and so many other companies have contributed to the growth of the Lehigh Valley. I loved seeing that work ethic because it was very inspiring for me to work harder. Now I think people are working hard, but in a different way. It's become a lot more white collar and everything. So as the demographics change, the way people eat have changed, the way they exercise, health. 15 years ago, 20 years ago, we brought tofu on the menu,
Right.
and it failed miserably. Nobody knew what tofu was. A lot of people did, but not as many. If you think about it, 30 years ago in the Lehigh Valley, a lot of people didn't know what a cappuccino is, right?
Right.
And now it's evolved to 1,000,001 Starbucks, and almost every restaurant has a cappuccino. 30 years ago, if somebody came up to me and they said, I'm gluten-free, I'd say, congratulations, that's a great success. I didn't know what gluten meant to be gluten-free.
That is definitely a
right?
big change.
So the palate has changed. Everything has changed. And I think a lot of it has been in the positive, and it helped me as a restaurateur become better. A lot of people ask me, what is the dynamic difference between Billy's and anybody else? Well, I'll tell you, number one, we don't use microwaves. They're forbidden in our restaurants. Our freezers are only used for our French fries. Everything else that we make is made from scratch and to that minute. We use real butter. Most of the restaurants and places that I have seen are using margarine or butter blend. Right. We make our own syrup and we use, maple syrup.
Wow.
A lot of these things we don't advertise because we feel that you shouldn't have to advertise the quality of what you're doing. So when people are coming into a restaurant and they say, wow, this really tastes great or this really tastes good, the reasoning is because we are using real ingredients. So that's a lot of the things that separate us.
It goes back to Billy Cooks Like a Mother with pure ingredients is what I'm going to say.
Yeah, well, this is actually a business book. The book is a little misleading. Yeah. And the reasoning why it was called Billy Cooks Like a Mother, it was really because it was a tribute to my mother. A mother was always like at the home, right? And she had a lot of things going on. She was cooking, she was ironing, she was doing so many things. So it was really like a little play and a little fun. You know, Billy Cooks Like a Mother.
It's a very catchy title.
It was paying tribute to
your mom.
To not only my mom, but significant others in this world that take on so many roles to become successful. We offer vegan options, gluten-free options, but we are not a vegan restaurant or a gluten-free restaurant, and we never claim to be, but we offer these options to our guests. If
people that might have dietary limitations can find something to eat. What would you think, or what would you say that customers coming to Billy's Downtown Diner they love about this particular diner?
I think we give an experience to our diners like no one else. We have the energy of a rock concert when they're coming in. When you're coming in, our music is pounding. Our team is creating pieces of art that are coming out of that kitchen. The service, the way we make them feel. I think when people are walking through our restaurant, they think about the food, but when they're leaving, they're like, that was an amazing experience. And my father used to say one thing. He says, if you want to have a great meal, you have your wife or your mother make it. But when you go out, though, you go out for an experience, you know? And that's one of the things that we focus on, is giving a great experience. Now, there are times, you know, these are challenging times, and, you know, I think not just me, but like every other business owner, we've experienced staffing problems and, you know, supply problems, supply issues. And sometimes we fall a little short, but the one thing that we always focus on is to really give the people that come into our restaurant the best experience that we can give them.
Yeah. And what is one thing that customers might not know about Billy's Diner?
I think one of the things that a lot of them don't know is that we use fresh ingredients. Like I mentioned earlier, we don't use microwaves. Our freezers are for ice cream and French fries only.
Right.
We make the dishes, everything that you eat is made at that moment. Nothing is pre-made. We use real food, real ingredients. We don't have GMOs in our food. You know, if you're going to have butter, it's going to be real. If you're going to have syrup, it's going to be real. And so on and so forth. And I don't want to bore you with all of that, but even our orange juice, we squeeze orange juice fresh per glass. On an average, we squeeze about, I think our counter's up to, well, we do about 1 million oranges a year that we squeeze. We go through 52,000 pounds of home fries.
Wow.
Every year out of this location alone. We go through about 6,000 eggs every single week. And the reason why I'm saying that, it's not to brag, but we're so blessed to have that much business, and we have a small space that everything we do has to be fresh. We have no room to store anything.
Stuff, yeah. Any upcoming goals for your future that you'd like to share with us?
Oh, I always have goals. I mean, every day. My first goal is to get out of bed. That's the most important goal, because as long as I'm on this side of the ground, I'm a very happy person.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, we are growing. We became a licensed franchise pre-COVID. So right now we're in the process of rebranding ourselves. We're private labeling our own coffee, olive oils, honey, and ingredients. So that's going to happen within the first quarter of 2024, and we have other locations
changes
we're going to be announcing over the next few weeks.
That's exciting. Congratulations on your expansion and your ideas and your zest for life in general.
Yeah, well, thank you. I mean, I'd like to take all the credit, but you know, you can only be as good as the team that you have. So I'm really blessed. Like the gentleman you met earlier, he's been with me for like 12 years. Some of my people have been with me for 17 years. And even though it's my name on the building, if they don't do what they do, I can't do what I do. So any success that my company is seeing as a result of a partnership between me, the community, the team that I work with, and of course the grace of God.
Yeah. So how would you say, since you mentioned your staff, how do you encourage your staff and keep them motivated as well?
Well, I think we're more excited about the future and the things that are to come. There's something wonderful about not knowing what's going to happen, but it's really great when you start planning for it, and then when it happens, you're like, oh wow, this is great, you know? And I think they're all very excited about the future and us working together. We're very loyal to one another. We're a very tight-knit group, and they have my back and they know I have theirs. And we work together with the utmost of ethics and hard work. So I'm very blessed to have them.
Billy, I'm very thrilled to have had this time together with you. I know you're a very busy man, and I appreciate that you took time out of your busy schedule to speak with us today. So thank you for that.
Thank you. It was a great honor doing this. And you know, just for the record, I have the same 24 hours everybody else has. So, you know, I was very glad to do this, and I wish you continued success as a realtor and everything that you do. So thank you for your time.
Thank you so much for watching. For those of you out there who haven't gone to Billy's Diner or his next endeavor coming up. That would be the Flying Pig. Please go and visit. The menu is wonderful, as you heard here, with pure ingredients and great atmosphere. If you wanted advice from the man himself, go out and buy the books. There they are, The It Factor and Billy Cooks Like a Mother. To our viewers, thank you very much for watching. Our motto is to give where you live, so let's help one another in the community so we can all thrive together. This is Evangelia Papadopoulos with Keller Williams Real Estate. Thank you so much for watching. Oh, you're such a great interview. I was nervous, I really was.
Oh, no, nothing to be nervous about.
I want to say thank you so much. I was at your wedding, and I remember you took the microphone at some point. You did speak about your father, but I remember you said something, I love my wife.
Man.
And I remember looking at Yana, and Yana going like, having this cute face on her, and I thought that was like just adorable. And I was like, they're going to do well.
Yeah, we've had a lot of challenges, that's
course.
for sure, and Yana, a lot of people don't know this, but Yana's a very strong woman, and an amazing mother and an amazing wife. She's always has a smile on her face.
She always does, that is true.
And all of that. She's just an amazing woman that loves to dance. She's so filled with life. And, we have a lot of fun together. We laugh a lot.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm sure she wants to,
Of course. Isn't that part of marriage too, kind of?
I think that, there are times that I drive her to that, but thankfully she hasn't yet, and we just have like a lot of fun.
Every time I see you, you look very well matched together to me. But I remember that at the wedding, and I thought to myself, they're gonna do good. You seem to be like very happy to be there, marrying each other.
It's a balancing act. It just
absolutely
really is.
It just,
But you make it work.
As long as there's respect. And
respect is,
and it seems that there is. So if you have respect, and you,
I've always said Yana's happily married. I am too. But it's a joke. But no, she's really an amazing person. If anybody ever really knew her story, they'd be really, really impressed.